Hello, everybody. My name is Sil the DM, and unfortunately, due to how much overtime I did over the month of February, I ended up missing a week of uploads. Terribly sorry about that. I ended up missing a pirate session and a city campaign session. So I'm gonna quickly recap those and get them uploaded today, hopefully, as well as the new city session, which happened last week. Unfortunately, there was no pirate session. I ended up slicing my hand open that day and needed to go into town to acquire some bandages uh, and just didn't really have access to one of my hands. So we did not have a pirate session since the session I'm about to recap for you. And this recap is going to be pretty fast because I'm still doing a whole lot of work and we're getting up to our 1 year anniversary of our Patreon. Um, so I have a lot of work to do beyond that. Um, First, I would like to mention um, and just thank everyone who does contribute to the Patreon. It means a lot to me. If you are interested in backing, even just a backing of $1 a month gives you access to all of my content. None of the content on my Patreon is gated behind higher tiers. The higher tier you go, just the more rewards you get access to. Me doing homebrew for you, or running a game for you and your friends once a month, uh, or playing a video game and doing recordings or streams of it, stuff like that. Um, that's all available for people who want to contribute more, but even just $1 helps me out an absolute ton. Gives you access to all the homebrew, world building, art I get done, everything. So I really appreciate it. The link will be in the description below if you're at all interested. So to quickly recap the session, and it is going to be a fairly quick recap, we took up where Shura had arrived at the tavern and had learned that Hadwin had been attacked. He dove into the water to give chase and ended up fighting some snakes, as whatever he was chasing seemed to summon a flurry of snakes behind him. Osaha and Pelennor came to help, and Shura pretty quickly did swift work to the snakes. But Atan, reaching the surface, ended up collapsing due to poison. And it started to look pretty bad. The group, with Odana helping, since no one in the party had a strength high enough to lift easily Shura, even though he's extremely underweight, he is like 7'8", and it's just hard to carry. But Odana, who's actually like an inch taller than him, has just a better strength than they do. So Osaha's mother carried Shura back to the ship, and they got him to Gustav, the goblin doctor, who did a quick examination of the merfolk rogue and seemed to hone in on the poison. He didn't have access to an antidote, so instead he channeled a bit of blue mana, and with a strenuous casting, exiled Shura out of existence for a moment, leaving behind the poison, and then Shura plopped back into existence. For people familiar with Magic the Gathering, it was a flicker effect. Um, a particular type of spell that's normally reserved for blue or white mana. Um, and so that actually removed the poison from Shura, uh, as he is technically new Shura, and all that old stuff falls off. After this, the group chatted for a little bit, retreated to their beds. Hadwin stayed with Osaha and Shura in the room to just make sure that they weren't attacked again. And then in the morning, everyone had some food, though there was a bit of a scene because Pellennor's bird was in the cafeteria, just taking up a lot of space, which was making a lot of the rest of the crew uncomfortable. Um, but everyone ate and talked for a little bit, curious about where they're going to be going in the future. And it was at this point they were interacting with Alesha, who had sat with them, the female pirate who they had done that little adventure with to the Snake Temple. Um, and Alani mentioned the tattoos that Alicia has. The woman has a rather intricate tattoo across her chest and breasts. Um, and Alicia mentioned that her father was the artist, and he's quite a good, just he's very good at what he does. Um, the group had some things they wanted to do shopping wise today, and Alicia offered to tag along, and if they wanted to swing by her father's place in High and Dry, if he had time, they could see about getting Alani uh, the sort of jaguar print tattoo Alani wanted. And they chatted and talked for a little bit, not about anything too important. They attempted to find the magical world for Osaha's Raven figure, didn't succeed. And then eventually, Shura returned, having excused himself to go talk to the captain for a bit, and said that they had another day at least, so he would join them shopping. And that was basically where we left off. It was mostly some concerned conversation about Hadwin being attacked, speculation about what that might have been. At the moment, everyone seems convinced that Zipli, or Zipil, I forget his name exactly. I think it's Zipil, because I always think it's Zipli, and then I'm always wrong. Zipil, the owner of Thongathain, that curio shop, since to them he just seems a little snaky. Um, they seem to be very anti him right now, and seem to believe he might have had something to do with the attack. Shura seemed unconvinced, but wasn't going to ignore their concerns. And that was the general conversation. It was mostly just that. A bit of fighting with the snakes, and taking care of Shura, making sure Hadwin was safe for the night, and then talking about what had happened. One of our players was sort of in and out of gameplay a whole lot this session, so it was just a little hard to run. But that was about it. It was a pretty short session after spending a bit of time at the start just being idiots, and then delays with one particular character. It just happens. So we didn't get too much done. But I want to thank everyone for coming by. The city recap is also going to be very short, because not too much happened in that session either. And we got to the point where we really wanted to have everyone with us, and one of our very important characters was not there. And then one of our players has to leave early for most of the city sessions. So that recap's probably going to be a little quick too. I want to thank you for coming by. This has been Sil the DM. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. And again, if you can or are interested, I would greatly appreciate anyone checking out the Patreon down below. Sil out.